The poll question of tonight, the first one is, should we pay the money for Yankuba Minteh? So just to keep you up to speed with how this day progressed today around the bids for Minteh. So when we did the video earlier on today, we had an inkling that that second bid had gone in, but we didn't know yet what stage it was. Then we had reports to say Brighton have rejected a second bid from Liverpool for Yankuba Minteh. However, the two clubs are continuing discussions, and are hopeful of reaching an agreement. After that, then Fabrizio Romano said Liverpool agreed terms with Minteh and are optimistic to get the deal done. Ben Jacobs then posted to say Yankuba Minteh is sold on a move to Liverpool, keen to join and emulate one of his role models, Sadio Mane. If the clubs can agree a fee, Liverpool have seen 50 million and 60 million bids rejected. Manchester City also admirers of Minteh, but no approach yet. Now, I was watching the lads at Anfield Index earlier on. Gags and Eddie were on doing a show, and I was having a look at it, and I was thinking to myself, God, it really is quite clear how far the club have fallen off with Richard Hughes at the helm and the way this transfer window's been approached. And look, I don't want to come on tonight and continue to be moan and be negative, but it is good to see that that is just the general consensus out there. It's that it's been a mess. There's been no real plan to it, and now we're just kind of scraping around at the end of the window, hoping for the best, trying to get deals done. I mean, I think it was Gags on the show talked about the list that Liverpool had gone through. Started out with Yan Diamonde on the right-hand side as the number one target. That didn't happen. Then the club moved on to Endrick. That didn't happen. The club moved on then to Mbaye. As of yet, that didn't happen. And then we're here with Yankuba Minteh. So you got to ask the question, fair enough about Yan Diamonde. Look, that happens. Clubs can be led down the garden path and be strung along. But why didn't we go straight to Minteh after that? That, I think, is a genuine question that a lot of fans would have, because we've always known that Minteh was on the list, right? Whatever journalist that you follow, whatever podcast or publication you watch, they've always been saying Minteh's on the list. And I've given you my take on Minteh over the last few months, but I don't understand the logic here. How do we start working down through this list? Endrick, we should have been able to figure out quite quickly whether he wanted to move or not. But we've gotten to, not like privately gone through four. Now it's public that we've gone through four options on that side. And we're at a point now where we're probably overbidding for Yankuba Minteh and where he's worth. So it's a bit hectic. We all hope for the best. Nobody's saying Minteh's a terrible player or anything like that. But again, I just ask him, where is the joined up thinking here? Where's the logic in the way we've gone about it? Right. Where are we at? Sorry, there's a couple of super chats I want to get through. He's Bradley Barcola. Cola. I don't know what that means. Thanks, Lola. Okie dokie. Ella. Hey, Craig. From the Emirates. Hope you're well. Well, I dare say I'm probably a bit happier than you are at the minute, Ella. You there at the Emirates with Coventry getting beaten. But I hope you're enjoying it as well. And well done to Coventry on the promotion to the Prem. And I hope your good self as well, Ella. Right, Bison. How are you, bro? Said, hope you're well, mate. Really conflicted about Minteh. On one hand, I get that we need bodies. On the other hand, surely we could do better for 60 plus million. So, look, if you take the injury out of it, and I know it's easy for me to just say take the injury out of it, but if you take the injury out of it, I don't mind it. I don't, like, as long as the Barcola thing happens, and it will, this is a secondary option and somebody who is a natural on that right-hand side. Somebody who does have a high ceiling, somebody who does have good raw attributes, and I don't mind it. It's just the injury thing and the price going up and up and up just makes it feel a little bit like we're having our pants pulled down. And, you know, where you spend an extra 10 or 20 million in one position is probably money you're taking away from another position. So it really just feels like we want to get these two wingers in come hell or high water. And after that, I wouldn't be holding my breath for too much more business. It will be interesting to see, though, what Liverpool do here about Minteh. Do they sit on the number, or do they move back towards the 70 million that Brighton are asking for? And on top of that, there was talk as well tonight from Fabrice Hawkins about PSG want 70 million euro now for Ibrahim Mbaye this summer. Even if that figure is just the starting point for negotiations, the asking price is putting off interested clubs who value the Senegalese player at about 50 million euro. A deal with Liverpool is not impossible at this price. So I really don't know here, folks, how we end up. I think it's an individual preference, whether you prefer Mbaye, whether you prefer Minteh. But to start at 50 and get to 70, if we do, in the space of 48 hours, it's it's a big jump to make. I mean, let's look at it percentage-wise. What are you looking at there? 40% rise in 48 hours for a player who is injured and without an injury at the start of the window was being talked about at 70 to 80 million quid. It just feels a bit strange, and it definitely feels desperate from our side. So I can understand if I'm Tony Bloom and I'm Brighton, I'm probably doing the same thing, because they know we're desperate. And this is what we go back to saying, and I've said this all the way through the window: why rip up Salah's contract without a bona fide replacement? Because all we've done now is let the world know what we need. And now they know we're desperate. They know that Liverpool haven't had a logical plan in place this summer, or haven't had targets lined up and ready to go. The journalists, again, that have been writing about this and giving these guys plaudits for being the greatest data-led recruitment team on the planet, it's all just bollocks. As I've said all the way through, it's all just people blowing smoke up arses that don't deserve it. And here we are at the end of the window, when again, I've warned all summer, when you get to this point, if you're still looking for deals, the prices are going to go up. Selling clubs are going to say they don't have time to find a replacement, and you're going to have to pay a premium. So that's why I've been trying to warn against this all summer. There's a big difference between Yankuba Minteh at about 50 million quid with an injury and Yankuba Minteh at 70 million quid with an injury. It's just, I guess it depends on each person how happy they are about it or not. It's as simple as that one, really. Yeah, so that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Over to you guys to have your say as well. Just one little word for our trolling friends tonight, and I promise this is it. You can put in whatever you want. You can pretend that you're in and moaning again. You can say whatever you want, but I ain't going to interact with a single one of them, because I've got actual genuine people's opinions to deal with tonight. So trolls, I'm trying to save your time as well as mine. No point in wasting it. Just crack on and do something else with your evening, because you're not going to be getting any attention from me. And thank you to those genuine people in the chat. Let's keep moving. So, where are we at? David, I've done that one. I've done Bison. Hey, Craig, this proves they've just been winging it. David, absolutely. And I've been saying this all summer. I've been saying there is no recruitment plan. There is no, obvious A, B, C, D here. We're on to the fourth choice, or potential fourth choice, right-sided player here. And we're still making a meal of it. And look, I think I've tried to be fair about this and say we all know Minteh has been a target. Like, it's no surprise that Yankuba Minteh's name is on our list. But I think the real surprise comes with, why now? Why so late? Because, if Liverpool weren't selling Gakpo, well, then we were only going to go for Barcola. But it seems to be that they believe Gakpo's going, and we are the ones that should be setting the situation there and sorting that one out. So I really don't know. I don't know the logic behind not going for Minteh early in the window. The desperation at the end here, it's just not working out. And if we get him, we get him. If we don't, we don't. We move on, we'll do something else. But again, it just doesn't feel like much joined up thinking here at all. Craig, I would rather have Gomes or Mbaye and Osorio. So I don't know much about Gomez. I think, is he the Porto player that we were discussing a little bit yesterday? I have to say, I don't know much about him. Look, I can see the attraction of a Yankuba Minteh. If you look at it without emotion, look at it as a player and take the number out of it, I can understand it. He's a naturally right-sided player that will cut in onto his left foot, has Premier League experience, is still young, and obviously somebody on Donny Ariola feels will fit the system and fit the way he wants to play. The injury just makes it a little bit more of a hard sell. Especially to fans who know we already have no Hugo Ekitike for the foreseeable. So, if Minteh comes in and that's another 8 weeks, and that's 8 weeks before he gets back, and then he has to get to match fitness. Now, I suppose the good thing is he played fairly recently, so he's had a pre-season. Although the injury will set him back, it's not like the injury meant he's had no pre-season whatsoever. He has at least had a pre-season. So then after that, like I said, it's up to you guys to decide individually what you think about it, whether you think it's a good idea or a bad idea. Ultimately, as fans, we're sort of powerless. If he comes, and we'll all hope he does well. But, at this point, we don't really have a say in things. So we're kind of just waiting to see what happens here. The thing I've always tried to say about Dario Osorio is, does he have enough at the highest level? enough experience at Liverpool to look at. That's the thing that you would have to say. Playing for FC Midtjylland, obviously a decent side and all, but it's not on one of the higher profile leagues. And we know that historically Liverpool have liked the players who've had somewhat of a career before a move into Liverpool. The keeper saying both Barcola and Mbaye feel the respective transfer saga has dragged on for long now. Mbaye could even return to another project with only 10 days remaining in this summer's transfer window, according to L'Equipe. RMC Sport says Mbaye remains keen on joining Liverpool, but in those circumstances, reaching an agreement between the Reds and PSG is impossible. So, whatever way you look at this, our club has been the problem here, right? We've been dragging this shit along all summer. The Barcola deal is there to get done. Go get it done. Stop dicking about. Get to the price that they want. He's the guy that you want. There is no other options. Everybody knows it. You know it. I know it. The world knows it. Get it done. Get it done. Get it done. Get it done. Save some type of face in this transfer window. Because Richard Hughes and the data-led recruitment experts have turned us into a laughingstock, and they've showed themselves up to be nowhere near good enough for the job. Whether you think it's FSG taking their eye off the ball or whatever, this recruitment this summer has been a mess. An absolute mess from start to finish, and some of it entirely of our own making.